Hi, it's Jeff with Cribl. In this video, we're joining Randy Corelli again as he walks through how to manage state using Cribl's REST collectors. In this second part, Randy will walk through more advanced configuration of the state tracking and how to use a non-default event field to do it. Let's join him again as he gives an office hour style walkthrough and continues the REST collector configuration.
Good day, folks. In a previous video, I went through how to use the default state tracking in a REST collector, which uses the _time expression. So if we look here under like run, the full run, state tracking, and enable, just using this as is. For this one, I thought we'd break down this expression a little bit more and just see exactly what it's doing, and then how we might modify that one. If we wanted to change the field name that it's storing it as for some reason, as well as using a different field from the events, maybe a row ID or some numeric event ID, something like that, and what changes you might need to make in both those situations here. So for this test, I'm going to continue using my handy little earthquake API endpoint, which allows me to set a start and end time as parameters and is completely open. There's no authentication. Before we get into that one, let's take a little bit look at the events and kind of my event breaker. So here in the event breaker, I've added some fields at the bottom. So event time as the number kind of parsed, really a normalized version of the normal _time value to remove the milliseconds. So it'll just be seconds. The event time original, which is really just the value we parse in order to set the _time. And this UUID is just a miscellaneous kind of string identifier. So the one we're going to work with here is the EVT time. And if we take a look at the actual events here, I did do a capture, and we can see those here. So our event time or EVT time field, in this really is just the same as our parsed time field, but without the milliseconds. So with our _time, we would have used this value. With this one here, we're going to use this value instead. All right, so let's kind of go through it. And while we're here, let's just copy that to our clipboard with a quick double click. And we'll go and do our REST collector. So looking at this one, since I don't have any state set yet, I'm just going to use the static time range that I already had pre-configured. And we're just going to go ahead and do a run with the full run and the state tracking. So before we actually execute this, we need to make a few changes. So first, we're just going to change the field value that we're using, but we're still going to store it as latest name within the state file as our field name or JSON attribute name. So this initial check just verifies the _time was extracted. For our check, we would probably want to change this to being the field that we are looking for or looking to use, that it exists, to make sure that we're setting it kind of in the same way. I'm going to remove that check just for simplicity here of the statement, because this really is the part that matters. We're just going to assume that the field we want to use always exists and that first check would always pass. So our latest time would be the field name we'd be setting, and we'd be setting it with the state.latest time. And this you want to align with that same field name or 0, right? So we're comparing it of, is the current state value or is 0 greater than the _time? So that tells us that if yes, and the state latest time is newer, then it's going to persist the state.latest time. Otherwise, it's going to use the _time. So that's kind of what this statement means. To change it to use our EVT time, we really just need to update this _time with our field name, and same thing here at the end. So the same comparisons. If the stored state time or 0 is greater than our new value, then we're going to keep the state.latest time. Otherwise, we're going to use our new value. Looking at the merge expression, because we're keeping the field name here as latest time, within our state file, we don't need to change anything in this merge expression. It's already set up to look at the previous state's latest time value or 0, if it hadn't existed yet, is greater than the new state. And if it is, then we're going to use the previous state. Otherwise, we'll use the new state. So basically we'll use the bigger of the value here. So before we run that, let's clear our capture and can just confirm that we're getting our events. And let's go give that a run. So here we see we did get events. That's great. And our manage state button here is now available. So we know that we did save some state. So let's take a look. And you can see here in that JSON it created, that's where it created this field name called latest time. And with the value, right, 5428, which does match with our last event here. So excellent. So far, it used that current value that we had from our event to actually persist it. The next step would just be updating our start and end time in the collector to be more dynamic, rather than using the same time all the time. So for this one, since it wants it in this year, month, day, hour, minute, second kind of format, we're going to use a function like this one. So this will normalize the epoch latest time that we have and turn it into that year, month, day, hour, minute, second. Since I don't really want a duplicate of the original event, I'm also going to do a +1 just to add 1 second to the stored value. So that way we start from 1 second after our last event was returned. And since we know that our last one here ended at 6 a.m. here on the 25th, I just want to get 6 hours. I'm just going to keep this part hard-coded here at 12. So we're just going to advance that 6 hours. The real part here is using the state value that was stored as our next start time. So let's save that, and we're going to have to do a commit and deploy since we did change the REST collector. And I like to just kind of clear that while we're waiting for the workers to restart. Okay, looks like they're in good shape. Can go back over here and capture some data again. And we don't need this one at all. So now we're going to do the same thing and go do a run, full run state tracking. And we are going to have to modify this statement again, since it wasn't a scheduled one, and this always defaults back to the beginning. So it's EVT time, EVT time. All right, so now when we run this one, we should start from that last second or one further above it. Which was right around that 6 a.m. Time frame. And we look here, it is 229, and this is 7 a.m. So this would be after our time, but still here on 1025. So I believe that is the current one. And we should also see that it's updated our state file to this newer one with the 7429. And we see that, and it did update here to the 7429. So that's kind of in a nutshell how we would use a field parsed from the events within the state tracking. And in this case, it's pretty simple since we did leave the field name the same, right, as just this latest time. So for the next little test here, we're just going to change that up and use a different value here. So we're going to reset this one to 2024, 1025, 6 a.m. And we're going to save that and do the commit and deploy. And we're kind of just going to go through that same flow again, but this time we're also going to change the field that we're going to store here in the managed state. So let's go ahead and delete our state file. We see things were good there. And we're just going to go ahead and do a run, full run, state tracking enabled. So in this time, we're going to kind of keep it as the same, but I'm going to call it event time just so that the syntax in here isn't exactly the same. But event time, so now we're going to have to update the reference value to match. We're also going to have to update this to the field that we actually want to pull from the events. Again, for our state field name, for the comparisons, and that EVT time here as our field value again. So a few more changes, really in the 1, 2, 3 spots. But now that also forces us to change these over here to that event time as well. So it's comparing and it knows actually what that field exists. So you need to change both of those references to be our event time and event time. And now when we do a run, let's go reset our capture. You can see we got our events as expected. And when we look at our managed state, we're now going to see that this field name is called event time. So you can change if you just want to keep having, provide the context for the state value. But if it doesn't really matter, you can tell that going through that whole step did require a lot more changes. So even using an event field, using the latest time field isn't a bad option for the state, just to avoid having to make lots of changes in your collector. Although if you were to schedule this, then your changes would stay and you don't have to continually reset them as I am. So it is a one-time change as well. And that is how you would, handle that situation if you want to change both the field name and or the field that you're using. If you don't want to use the underscore time, and your events have some other numeric value that you can do this incrementing check.
Thanks, Randy. If you want to learn more, check out part 1 of the walkthrough if you haven't already, where Randy shows the basics of state management with REST collectors. Also, you might want to take a look at our docs at docs.cribl.io, or take a sandbox for a spin at sandbox.cribl.io. And last, be a part of the community at community.cribl.io. And as always, thank you so much for watching.